makikilala sa taong mapagkumbaba. Jesus na aking kapatid, putikin man ang iyong sabi, punit-punit ang iyong damit, nawa ika'y mapasa akin, tulutan mong aking mata, mamulat sa katotohanan, ikaw po makikilala sa taong mapagkumbaba. Jesus na aking kapatid, sa bukid ka nagtatanim, o sa palengke din naman, ikaw ay nakahanap buhay. Tulutan mong aking mata, mamulat sa katotohanan, ikaw po makikilala, ikaw po makikilala, ikaw po makikilala sa taong mapagkumbaba.
JMM Radio.
You have just heard a song from the Jesuit Music Ministry. Follow jescom.ph on Spotify and Jescom Music on YouTube. We are also on iTunes and Deezer.
Jescom Music Ministry, your daily dose of inspiration. Follow jescom.ph on Spotify and Jescom Music on YouTube. We are also on iTunes and Deezer. Get your daily dose of inspiration through our music. Follow jescom.ph on Spotify and Jescom Music in YouTube.
Radyo-katipunan. News, insights, inspiration. Radyo-katipunan. Down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo-katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle.
Let's reclaim what is rightfully ours at the 9th PP Radio Conference. Revamp the media blueprint and reclaiming the Republic on March 25 via Zoom and PP Radio Conference official Facebook page. Together, let's redeem our narratives.
Radyo, 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 katipunan, radyo, katipunan, radyo, katipunan. Pipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay at tenista sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela. Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, Katipunero, sugod, todo sa kayod, tulong at tulong, lipat na Blue Eagle, galing giting nagigil, blue and white, one big fight. Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, katipunan.
Radyo Katipunan, 87.9 FM.
Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Radyo, na Blue Eagle kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpa at tama. Buhay atenista sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela. Radyo, katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, katipunero sugod. Todo sa kayod, tunong at tulong. Lipad na Blue Eagle, galing hiting at tigil. Blue and white, one big fight. Radyo, katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Katipunan.
Let us understand mental health and explore how we can take care of our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. Welcome to your weekly slice of mental health tips and tidbits with Pat and B, here on MindEd.
Sa'yo sumisilong kapag ang puso ko'y pagod.
Hello and welcome to MindEd, your weekly slice of mental health tips and tidbits. My name is Pat.
And this is B. I am just a letter. Good evening, everyone. Happy
Good
Thursday,
evening.
Patrick.
Happy Thursday. Grabe, parang nakailang weeks tayo. Ever since you humiliated. Joke lang, hindi naman.
What?
I remember. Sorry, I know.
What did I do?
No, but that's super fresh in my mind still, and parang the feels really and the appreciation for how the last episode went. It still kind of bears very, very deeply, hindi heavily naman, mga deeply in my heart. So I'm super grateful for what you guys did, and ultimately I decided to parang no, that was good. That was, I think, really good. Kasi, it's not the wisdom really that I've imparted onto people, but it's really the wisdom that we all share and the love that we all share with each other. So, parang, yeah, let's keep that episode up.
Yay!
Pero hindi ko na binago yung caption dun sa page ko eh. Sinabi ko na lang na parang, I kept it as, oh, we have an anonymous caller, and yeah. And then,
turns out
I was
anonymous
wrong.
callers.
Yeah. My God.
So,
But yeah,
ready
it's been
ka
a
na sa
couple
part
of weeks.
2. May part 2 tayo.
My God! Can we take a break first? Okay, break muna tayo sa garan.
Sige.
Sige, pero okay lang.
Sige.
But again, parang that's a once in a lifetime kind of thing. So, once lang, please. Thank you.
Talaga
Appreciate
ba? Okay, sige,
Oo.
fine. Off-air na lang
Okay.
yung iba. Okay.
So for people who weren't around pala the last session tuloy, the last episode that we had they surprised me by, instead of doing a life lessons with strangers, they did a roast
Nice lessons
of
from
Patrick.
Patrick.
Yeah.
It's like
So,
that.
It's very nice and very heartfelt. So I know that, you guys who are new listeners might not be like super close to me, and that's fine. Like no pressure there, but like super meaningful and super heartfelt episode for myself for sure, but I think lots of meat for people to take also. But okay, been a while. So how have you been, B, since the last episode?
Sabaw eh. Anong ginawa ko? Sobrang sabaw.
Sabaw.
Sabaw talaga siya. But it's a good kind of sabaw, I think. I did a lot of thinking and juggling at the same time.
Okay.
No, but okay, something
Ay,
new.
teka.
Yes, what?
Ito ba yung pinag-uusapan natin before?
Medyo, pero matagal pa yun eh.
Okay,
Medyo
okay.
umaandar, pero matagal pa yun. Yeah, sobrang vague daw. Pagdating sa akin, lagi bakit?
Okay.
Tapos, what did I do? Okay, something new. I was saying something new. So, I started swimming again. And then...
Okay. In public. Oh my gosh.
Bintablado ako, tapos doon ako nagsiswimming, gano'n. Public performance siya.
Okay.
Kasi...
No, I mean like Like a public pool, obviously.
Here in sa condo kasi, I mean,
Okay.
there's a pool naman dito. Kaya lang, since, the pandemic and everything, sobrang scared to go out, even here, dun sa facilities.
Yeah.
So, parang iwas talaga. Pero now, na mas open, and I think mas matapang na din ako. So, I usually wake up 5:30, diba? So,
Wow.
5:30, I wake up, I do stretching na dito sa condo before going down.
To the pool.
Para pagdating doon, I'm all stretched up and everything na. So, I do like a mini sequence lang ng yoga just so ma-stretch yung mga kailangan i-stretch at 5:30 in the morning. Kasi 6 o'clock nag-open yung pool.
Okay.
So, pagka 6 o'clock, parang, okay, walang tao. As in, wala. Like,
okay.
It's fun. So, doon na rin ako nagme-meditate. While doing that. Yeah,
that's
tapos, this morning, ako, 110 laps.
Oh my God. Of how long? Or ano yung distance?
Maiksi lang
yun.
yun.
Total size ng pool?
I don't know the total size of the pool. Pero according to the app, it's lang siya, 1,100 meters.
That's 1 kilometer. You swam an entire kilometer.
Ganon.
Pretty much. My goodness.
In
amazing,
48 minutes yun. So parang ako,
that's amazing.
Happy.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm so happy. So okay naman
I guess, that's the answer to the question of what you've nurtured this past couple of weeks. Yeah. Yourself. I mean,
myself,
you definitely deserve to nurture yourself. So that's amazing to hear. I'm super proud of you.
Thank you. But
cool.
So that's something new. What else? Wala namang ibang bago eh. May bago akong kitchen experiment. But I think I shared this with you already. Protein balls.
Squash?
Tapos it's no bake. Hindi na squash. Grabe ka.
Hindi na squash. Okay.
Hindi na squash. Ano siya? It's a no bake type of protein ball. So basically, it's just peanut butter and then rolled oats, protein powder, a little bit of honey, and then yun na. And then you just put it inside the fridge. It's parang yay.
Yeah. No, that's a really, really good snack. That's okay. So really nurturing the health. I think over the past couple of weeks is the theme. That's amazing. Super proud.
Thank you. And you, how about you? How have you been present the past 2 weeks? Yeah, 2 weeks.
Okay. I think ever since, just to refresh everybody, my Lenten sacrifice is sweets. So I have not had any form of dessert. And parang part of my mindful presence talaga is, kasi diba, I think, I don't know, this is what I've been told lang. So blame my spiritual leader na lang for this if it's not true. But Sundays are the exemptions. Parang they're the mini Easters during Lent where you're allowed whatever it is that you've sacrificed. Or you're not, I think you're not supposed to fast from whatever it is that you're fasting. Well, anyway, so whenever I have dessert on Sundays, talagang ninanamnam ko talaga siya parang, yes, man, I'm gonna miss this throughout the week, but like make the most out of it, really. Pero I mean, apart from that, so that's like the small thing. It's been a big weekend for a lot of us. So I spent a lot of time just really watching through the stream of Pasig Laban. Man, what an amazing and very inspiring thing to really behold. Part of me, si Chai din sinasabi niya, parang sobrang FOMO niya because that was something that would have been something that she would have loved to be a part of. Like sayang kasi, hindi man sayang, but we love Cassie and everything, but we can't really bring her out there because we're still in a pandemic. That's a thing. And also, it's really, really hot. It's really been so hot. And so, parang sobrang kawawa naman siya if we force her to like go or be out and about and not have any sort of play between 3 to 8 p.m. when it ended. Pero we got a small glimpse of that. So, Chai and I, so this is also part of me being present. Chai and I have been able to really make the most out of Monday. So on Mondays, we leave Cassie with her younger sister and we get to go out and do whatever. And so for Monday, this past Monday we went to Power Plant Mall
Okay.
because we had a dentist appointment in Makati prior, and then we decided to have lunch in Power Plant, and we needed to look around for stuff in Power Plant. Let's see.
And we are not endorsing Power Plant here.
Hindi, wala. Sige, basta.
Okay.
Basta yun, mall sa
Hmm.
Rockwell. Yun lang naman yung mall dun. So anyway. But we were browsing in one shop that was near, or that had a view looking out onto the street
Mm.
on the periphery of the mall. And lo and behold, as we were looking out and down, because it was the second floor, we saw this motorcade. And people like streaming down the street wearing pink. And apparently they had like a mini like go around the Rockwell area. See VP Lenny. And I was just like, oh my God. So she was there, and I was just like, oh, that's so nice. And then parang it prompted Chai to have this whole conversation with one of the guards of the store.
Okay.
Tinatanong niya, so, kuya, ano ba? Sino po iboboto nyo? Ano ba hinahanap nyo sa Pangulo? Tas, to try to really campaign, like actively campaign talaga. Because, diba, if you remember, that's one of the things that we talked about when we were with Father Arnel, diba? Is to really actively go out and reach out to as many people as we could. And so, si Chai got the guard to consider VP Lenny for president,
Nice,
so,
Chai.
good job, Chai. Ako din, in all of the stores that I went, like, my final word to them is, basta, VP Lenny tayo Tapos parang sila, oh, sir, syempre. Kasi apparently a lot of them really are. So parang it's, yes. By the way, wala akong binayaran sa kanila. So, sabi lang.
Pero binayaran mo sana yung binili mo, di ba?
Yung binili ko, pero hindi bayad, hindi siya bribe, like I bought stuff, it's a benefit to me. So, equal exchange.
Oh, that's nice. Buti hindi kayo sumama sa motorcade. Hindi kayo bumuntot.
Hindi. But it was like a slow go around. I think they just went around once, and like VP Lenny really, I saw kasi one of the stories of one of my friends. She was there, and she was able to like really shake her hand because she had her door open the whole way through, and just
nice.
So nice to have an inspiring leader who really wants to be with you.
Yeah.
So how did we get here? Okay, mindful presence. Yun lang.
Yeah. Okay. So, anyway, ano mga gawin natin ngayon? Okay, so...
ba?
Magaling tayo sa segue. So, anyway, because we were thinking, actually, itong episode na to, inisip ko, sabi ko, okay siya for Arts Month. And then, mali pala. Feb pala yung Arts Month.
Wasn't Feb, yeah.
I don't know bakit pumasok sa akin na parang March siya. Women's Month na pala tayo.
And March rhymes slightly a bit.
I know, pareho silang may A. I don't know.
Tsaka R na magkasunod.
Kakainis. Yeah. Oo. So anyway, and then I was chatting with our friend, and then we're just
co-producer.
Medyo na. Mamaya meron tayong i-drop na trivia about like yung connection niya dito sa show. But anyway, ayun. And then para sabi ko, okay, parang he's working on a project, pero hindi naman yan pag-usapan natin masyado. Anyway, and then it got me into thinking na, okay, maganda siyang ipasok because we had, the friend is a singer-songwriter. And it kind of reminded me of the episodes we had when we talked about expressive arts therapy or using expressive arts in therapy. So para I think this is sort of like a part, 3 of that. Or basta yun, anyway. Ang tagal na kasi since
nakarami na tayo actually,
Oh, marami
parang we've
na.
had si Joey and si Adi from Magis. We also had Gina. We had a music therapy. Yeah, Marissa. So this is part 4.
4. Yeah, part 4 na. Part 4. And then I think this is a really like a good mix of guests that we have now. So I'm excited. And And
Without
ano
further
pa?
ado,
Yeah.
ganun na
Anyway,
ba?
sige.
Yun na.
Oo, ganun na. Ikaw na muna. So, introduce our
Okay.
first guest.
Sige, so without further ado, our first guest is Dr. Carlo Pizarro. So he completed his master's degree in psychology at the University of the Philippines, Diliman. He's been practicing as a mental health clinician since 2015 and is the co-founder of Circle of Hope Community Services, a nonprofit organization that provides mental health services for underserved and marginalized sectors. So he has worked with Dr. Joanna Herrera in providing mindfulness training to doctors at PGH. He also provides clinic-based psychotherapy services to children, youth, and families. Let's welcome Dr. Carlos Pizarro.
Hi, Doc.
Hi,
Hey, Doc.
Patrick, and
Hi.
hi, B. It's good to be
Hello.
here.
Good
Yeah,
evening.
Thanks
Sige,
for being with us. Good
thank you for
evening.
being with us.
of
Okay,
course.
so our second guest is a friend of the station, the show, and
And
of
our
Jescom, of course, and us, of course, is our friend. So we have Mike Shimamoto. He is a singer-songwriter, storyteller, and program facilitator. He was a leadership program developer and facilitator for various nonprofit organizations, catering to college students, corporate leaders, indigenous youth, and others. He was a guidance associate for Maria Montessori Children's School Foundation and taught music and songwriting to kids and teens under Make Believe Theater Productions. He is also the founder and head storyteller of the Haru Collective and lead singer and songwriter for Where's the Sheep Christian Band. So, hi, Mike. Welcome to the show. It's the first time we're having you. I don't know why. Trivia.
After 4 years.
After 4 years. When we started MindEd, kasama talaga si Mike dun sa the braids of the child. And the braids of the braids of the show.
To me.
And then, so we just got, yung ano natin, yung theme song natin, the theme song of MindEd for 4 years is actually
4 years, yeah.
Mike. It's
Huh?
Haru.
Has
It's
it been
panahon.
4 years?
Lol. Yeah.
Talaga ba?
O, di ba
to
may
be here.
libreng plug?
Thank
Thank
Okay
you.
lang.
Okay,
Sponsored
sige.
naman tayo by Mike.
Bago tayo magkulitan, hello.
Sorry.
Hello,
Pala.
Doc Carlos. Hello.
We're
Hi.
professionals here. Okay, I forgot. Yeah, sorry.
Anyway,
Hello.
Patrick, sige. Do your question.
Okay, sige. So, as I've not mentioned before, no, I have. So we kind of ask a question to our guests on the show about not just how you've been, but also what your core value for the year is, and how you've expressed or lived out that core value. Let's just say the past week. So maybe we start with Doc. How would you like to call us? How would you like for us to call you, Doc? Doc
Call
na
me
lang ba?
Carlos. Doesn't matter. Carlos is okay. Wala namang
Sige,
problema.
Doc Carlos.
Okay.
Sige. So, how are you? How have you been over the past week? What's your core value and how have you lived that out?
Yeah, let me start by my core value. I think I've been thinking more about faith. Okay, so the word faith to me is, of course, it's all-encompassing, but that goes with words that we're more familiar with, like where we can more associate with, which is trust, diba? With all of the things that are happening around us globally, nationally, individually, I feel that is the one that I could hold on to the most, that makes sense to me. So faith not in something, but in someone. I guess that's where it all boils down to for me. So that faith is really rooted in my belief in God, that God is in charge. God knows what's happening. God knows what's happening with me, with our country, with the world, even the war that's now happening in Europe. So all of these things somehow will make sense in the end, and this is where I think I'm trusting that I can just live my life in a way that gives me peace and gives me some kind of confidence, because God is in charge. And I think that faith for me works very well, and it just helps me to sleep well at night and to realize that I may not look at things. I mean, look at things in a very different way, but God has better plans, and so things will be okay. Things will be okay in the end.
Thank you. That's
Beautifully
beautiful.
said.
So,
Right.
yeah. So I gather from how the week has gone, you've been pretty relaxed, or
Right.
at least been very well rested, which is
Right.
good to hear.
Right.
Thank you.
Resting in faith. That's nice.
Resting in
Resting in
faith. I
faith.
like that.
Mm. All right.
Okay.
Mike?
Wag na natin tanongin si Mike. Okay lang? Joke lang. Go.
Oh,
Mike, how have
okay.
you been?
I think unahin ko na muna si core value. I think the core value that I've been centering myself on is persistent kindness. I feel like that's something that I deliberately wanted to imbibe for this new year, for 2022. Just because I feel like that the world is slowly opening up and there is a lot of pressure to kind of be productive and to seek parang normalcy that we may not really be able to achieve just yet. And yet there's sort of this pressure to have to be kind of that present and that on. Um, so I wanted to kind of remind myself lang to kind of be gentle and be kind to myself. And what I've been doing is I've integrated both prayer and meditation in my daily practice now. Um, parang what it's been a challenge. Kaya siya persistent kindness kasi sometimes you put a lot of pressure on yourself. Like, okay, I've got to answer emails and I've got a lot of deliverables today. So parang I just have to push myself to finish all of that. But I have to make a deliberate decision to take some time in the morning na, okay, let's magdasal muna tayo, anchor ourselves in that, and then also just spend a few moments in quiet and just ano, parang imbibe that kindness to myself. And I find na the more I do that, the more I'm able to share it with other people. I feel like mas lumalambing yung pananalita ko sa tao, alam mo yun? Um, so that's been helpful for me. Right, Patrick? I
Yeah.
miss you.
Right. I miss you, Mike.
Okay.
Okay.
Shall we
Sige.
leave the room now?
Oo.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Mamaya, Mike. Medyo ko lang. Sampulan mo kami mamaya ng prayer and meditation.
Aray ko. Okay, yeah.
Nilaglag mo eh. No, but that's beautiful. Thank you. So
Yes.
for Doc Carlos, it's faithfulness. For Mike, it's persistent kindness through prayer and meditation. That's
Yeah.
that's a theme that we got going there, and either way that's beautiful. Parang reminiscent of this episode we had couple of episodes back where we were talking with spiritual directors from CIS about
Yeah.
prayer talaga. So
Mhm.
amazing. B,
Yeah.
sige.
Mhm. Me, okay. No.
Yes.
Sobrang sama. Sabi ko sa inyo, the theme for the week is sasabaw. Anyway, sige. Doc Carlos, I am
Yes.
curious. I was reading your bio. And before we get into like the meat of the discussion, so we'll have some sizzle talk muna about what you're doing now. So I understand that you have, or you co-founded Circle of Hope Community
Mhm.
Services. Can you
Right.
tell us more about it?
Yeah, it's I co-founded it with Dr. Joanna and Dr. Rod Peñalosa. These are psychologists, and so it's really it began when I came into MedMom. That's where the practice was, and we started. I was an intern, and at that time, we were sort of looking at a program, and Dr. Joanna sort of like, okay, why don't we do something at PGH, because they were asking for help, especially for the teens, those with cancer, and they were really having difficulties with the treatment. it was hard for them to just go through the treatment. So there was a lot of, di nila pinagpapatuloy, sayang. And maybe because of many issues that they are having in their families. So that's how Circle of Hope started. So it was a way to help primarily the youths who have cancer, but it now extends to not only them, but also their families, because unless you support the family, it's hard to support, it's hard to just help them without helping the family also. It has to be one unit. But at the same time, we realize that we can't do this alone. It has to be a circle of helpers, a circle of people who want to just make a difference. It doesn't have to make for you to commit yourself for 5 years, what have you. No, it doesn't have to be that way. Whatever it is that you can share. And Mike has been part of that too. So
Wow, okay.
so it's been
Good
going
job.
on for let me see, about 7 years now.
Wow.
And we're even during the pandemic, we're very, very active. We have a lot of programs even until now. So we have touched lives for not only in PGH, but also in other hospitals like NKTI, others. So it's still going strong. So I'm really, really very happy to be part of this. But I'm just one of those who are actually trying to make a difference, just like everybody else. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Thank you. Thank you for your service in that and for your ministry. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Inspiring.
And everything is voluntary, di ba? Just like what's happening now, di ba? Everybody's voluntary. So that's also voluntary. We're not being paid for that. But we do it simply because it's a joy
The right
to
thing
be
to
able
do.
to share, di ba?
Yeah,
It's a joy.
agree. I agree. Yeah, and speaking of sharing, Mike, how about you? Can you share more about Haru Collective?
Well, Haru Collective, it was really more of a passion project. It stemmed from sort of personal narratives that I feel like there was a lot of stories that we had as friends that parang just kind of circulated amongst ourselves. But during a particular time in my life, I wanted to sort of just see how it would feel to have an exchange of stories. Parang, I think, yun nga, it's a collective of stories and storytellers, but parang the core of it is more of a community. It's a community that holds space for one another. I feel like parang whether that was the original intention or its evolution, parang it's a pleasant thing that's happened na we've gathered a somewhat, not a big community, but a small community that really just extends a lot of openness and kindness to one another. So parang ganun yung nangyari sa kanya na through sharing of our personal stories, it kind of created a ripple effect. And there's been an exchange of different stories, and we sort of make them into collections and try to present that to an audience. So it's sort of been more like that the past couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ang galing, no? Parang,
Oh.
two distinct things, but what I'm noticing as a common thread there is it's about giving people space. With Circle of Hope, it's allowing or really providing this kind of opportunity to share or to open up and to have space for people who wouldn't normally have access to the kind of space. And then with Haru, it's allowing people to express their stories in ways that they find most appropriate to express them.
Yeah.
Limited yung
Agree.
knowledge ko ng Haru Collective. Pero hindi naman. I've been part of it too. But
Yes.
I mean,
Of course.
just the way that you are able to share stories there is really very heartfelt and really expressive. I mean, true to the whole theme of the whole expressive arts thing. So, ang ganda lang. Thank you. Thanks for that.
For me, siguro,
May I
nakita
add
ko na
something?
common. Sige, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Actually, parang kasi nga, as Doc Carlos mentioned, I volunteered for Circle of
Circle of
Hope.
Hope.
And the truth of it is na my experience there actually inspired some of the values that we've integrated in Haru. Parang there was really this acceptance and sort of that you don't have to parang kasi when we were working with the kids parang yung youth natin um they're going through all of these incredible experiences and um parang there was so much patience and openness that all of the volunteers um, showed everybody. Na it really inspired me na parang you really see how kind of they open up and they receive and how hungry they are for that sense of um, parang acceptance and kindness. So parang I saw that culture and I felt like, this is not just for people going through extraordinary experiences. I feel like that's universal to all of us. Like there's a hunger in all of us for that. So actually yun. So thank you, Doc Carlos. Parang
Sure.
Circle of Hope was an
Yay!
inspiration. to
Ninakaw
Haru.
mo lang pala. Hindi, joke lang.
Hindi,
Joke lang.
yun
Joke
nga
lang,
eh.
joke lang.
So sabi ko kanina, parang ang nakita ko common din or parang aligned factor here or value is yung pag-aalaga. Like the Circle of Hope is really parang simply founded para alagaan to
Yeah.
itong mga patients, itong mga teens and everything. And you mentioned you had volunteers as well. And I guess sa pag-aalaga doon, nahawa yung mga volunteers, Mike. Kung paano mag-alaga and how is it when you are caring for someone and then you bring that value and really build your own support system and you teach other people to take care of themselves and each
Yeah.
other as well. So ayun nga, parang I think it's a it's a great circle of hope. It's a bigger
Exactly.
circle now.
Exactly. Yeah.
So ano na siya, circle of Haru na ba siya? So, naki-connect lang.
Haru of Hope?
Haru of Hope can work too. But yeah, I guess ano siguro we can like jump into it already kasi parang si Mike took the values of siguro dun sa practice ni Doc Carlos. I think I believe naman na kahit saan ka pumunta, if you have that value with you, whether it's sa Circle of Hope or now I understand you're also with We Thrive well-being. So you still have that core value that you bring with you as a mental health professional, and then Mike picking up from that is able to apply it in his own world, kumbaga his own expressive arts. Ayan, gamitin na natin yung term, di ba? So, Doc Carlos, kayo po ba? Like I siguro ako, I know that you have this project, di ba? Pero with when you started this one, did you ever parang think about parang the lives that you touch and ano pa yung parang goal niyo when you were doing or when you were doing the prayer practice?
You're referring to the practice of or the project?
No, it's really in general po.
Okay. So it's really more of like for example, in the mental health profession kasi, for example, we didn't realize that there's just so much issues going around, especially during the pandemic. Okay, so there was this need that sort of like came about. Maybe if I may share with you a short story.
Of course.
So we were having this retreat at church, and my profession actually is a dentist. That's my main profession. Tapos, but I'm also very active in our local church, and so somebody sort of said, I noticed that you're very good with this. I think you'll make a good psychologist, sabi niya. So, and sort of that planted a seed, So, and then I realized, there's a need in our church, and so because it seems like the way we do counseling has become it's a little bit too simplified, I think. And so that was my reason for going into this field, so that in a way I could expand my knowledge and perhaps be able to be effective in the field of counseling in our church. So so eventually I think that led to me being in this, connecting with different people who are experts in the field. And so when I took my master's, I took I passed the boards and all that. It became like, okay, it seems like God is drawing me into this kind of work in which there's this psychological work. But also, when you think about it, it is not just a psychological or mental work. It's a whole being that we need to be dealing with. So that includes spiritual, health, social. And so all of these things are connected. And part of our being humans is in the field of expression. And I think that's where kami ni Mike have come together, because if I may summarize my own view of what a human need is, one of the major human need is the need to be understood. Okay. So why do we listen? Because we want to understand somebody else. Why do we talk? Because we want to be understood. Why do we cry? Because we felt like we're not understood. Diba? Why do we feel so angry? Well, because we're frustrated. Nobody understands us. Nobody seems to be. A child can have a tantrum. Why? Because the child is communicating in a way that she's not yet able to articulate probably what she feels or he feels. And so that child needs to be understood. So once we have that common understanding of what it is that I think is a human need, the need to be understood, then, all of a sudden we connect and we have this harmony. We are able to sort of like accommodate different opinions, different maybe belief systems. And so that's where expressive arts, I think, will come in, because it's allowing myself to be free in the way I could express myself without being judged, and to be respected in how I might say my view that might be very different from yours, but still is valid based on my own experiences and my own context. So, what Mike and I are doing is really more along that lines of, yung ang ganda nung yung storytelling, for example, because wow, I never knew you were going through that, di ba? And then here's another thing. I never knew you could say it that way. And I never realized that I will be so touched by your story in the way you've said it, because you have made me understand what you are going through and who you really are. So I think, Mike could probably say a little bit more on that, but really that it's so powerful. Once, for example, once you know who Patrick is, or who B is, and who Mike is. And, di ba sabi na, yung lahat ng masasamang ugali, di ba? Well, I'm not concerned about that. Beyond that is a person of great value, a person who's created in the image of God. So there's something there. But we just need to allow them to express themselves and for us to understand. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Alam mo, Doc, having worked in the music industry na rin naman, like it's so refreshing, and I consider myself lucky na rin kasi to be working with the artist in the background. Like it's a backstage of everything, because I also learned that these artists are not just artists, they're not songwriters, they're more storytellers. Like the expression that they're doing, the put are just really their stories in the form of a song or a form of
Mm.
like lyrics or music or arreglo, depende kung sino yung katrabaho mo. So, pivot to Mike. How about you? Like, songwriting is something I would assume close to your heart as a storyteller din naman, diba? So, like, number one siguro, the basic is parang, how long have you been writing songs or how long have you been using songwriting to tell your story?
Yeah. I think for as far back as I can remember is high school. Parang the thing with me is that and obviously a lot of my friends know this about me is that I'm very madaldal. I talk a lot.
No.
I know. What? um so yun,
Okay,
so
go.
but I feel like there's a quote kasi na parang somebody who talks a lot or uses a lot of words, parang it's trying to mask an inability to actually express what they want to really say. So I feel like as I've grown older, I've realized na parang I tend to use words to try to kind as like an acrobatics tool, but hindi ako ganun kagaling in really parang going into the heart of how what I really feel or sort of these more complex emotions. And that's where songwriting has come in for me. Whenever there's anything in my life that I have a difficult time sort of articulating or understanding or parang imbibing, one way or another, it translates into a song. Um, I think parang as early as high school, it was sort of like in lieu of being able to communicate something to someone, parang I just kind of write it down. And more often than not, there's a melody attached to it that I didn't realize was already songwriting. Parang it just sort of happened. Um, Pero parang as I kind of progressed, and syempre there's this joy of creation na, something that I wasn't able to articulate all of a sudden became this beautiful parang um for an parang sense of art. Um I fell in love with that na from nothing comes something. You feel like you're tapping into something beyond yourself. Um so I started to get really into that. Um, but yeah, parang it's played a very pivotal role in my life because I guess in a way my songs are the replacements of journals. Alam mo yun na,
Yeah.
and I think also parang when you step into the world of songwriting, you're very open. Your empathy is very engaged. Um, because you're receptive to kind of inspiration eh. Parang once you rely solely on your input, parang the song stops. The song immediately ends. Um, so when I'm in the process of songwriting, I find that I'm more compassionate to sort of the people I'm writing about. I mean, more often than not, I do write from a personal place, but a lot of times when sort of I'm collaborating with people or I'm writing for a certain project, I find that in songwriting, I'm able to understand um, parang my world around me. And I think that that relates very well to Doc Carlos na we want to be understood and we want to understand,
Yeah.
but not everybody has the tools for that. So my personal tool, sort of like the key that has allowed me to access doors, has been music and songwriting.
Yeah. I like what you said there. And also what Doc Carlos has said about yun nga, what I notice kasi in the work that I do in therapy is that a lot of people really come in with with very limited by how or how much they're able to really, you know, externalize what it is that's going on inside of them. And so a lot of the work that I do in acceptance and commitment therapy is, helping people develop the skills to namatay yung ring light. Okay, wait lang.
It's okay. We can
Natin
still see
siya.
you well.
I'm very dark. Sige. So I am. So it's really about providing or helping people develop the skills to actually externalize that. And diba? Kasi parang there's this thing that on the one hand they're not aware of, and you can't verbalize what you don't know. So that's the very first step, right? Is to get in touch with what it is that you want to be able to express, and then expanding your vocabulary enough that you're able to really express that in a meaningful way that you understand it yourself, and for the people who matter to you or the people around you, you get to express it to them too. And that's one of the things I appreciate about expressive arts therapy too. It's really broadening people's vocabularies on how to express what's within. And that's with Mike, that's the songwriting. With Doc Carlos, that's the work really. So yeah. Your thoughts on that? Is that what you find that is true for you, or parang nah, Patrick's just spouting some technical mumbo jumbo whatever?
Siguro si Mike is very good with words, no, and songs. For me, it's actually a limit. I have a limitation when it comes to words and lyrics. I've written very very few songs, but I use other texts which I turn into songs. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I can sort of like understand what Mike was saying when it comes to like you're able to create something, and something that turns out to be something that you enjoy, also something that you like out of nothing, and then something that happens. So but for me, I'm more into music. I guess that's where I am more comfortable in. But when it comes to words, writing my own words, forget it. So pero ganun nga siguro, that's where that's my challenge. But for Mike, napakadali. Actually, Mike wrote a song for Circle of Hope. Na
Sample.
ganda, talagang very very powerful. Parang sabi ko, nung una sabi ko, who wrote that? Sabi ko, who wrote that? Tapos kasi hindi pa kami magkakilala noon, and then all of a sudden, oh, now I see. Yeah, but I guess but yeah, I think the point is sometimes maybe in expressive arts, it's sometimes music is enough. But music with very appropriate words is 10 times more powerful, I think.
Amen to that.
For me naman, going back to what you were saying, Patrick, na parang yes, very much the songwriting process, or like the expressive arts is so potent, I feel, in that process of awareness, but also in expression. Kasi even the physical act of writing a song, I feel like there's so much there's so much temptation to sort of live life and externalize everything, or parang reference what's happening around you as your own input. But we never really get to ask anymore, but what do I truly think and feel about my experiences? So parang when you write a song, just kind of it's very hard to write a song sort of in the midst of everything. And you can't just like take it out of anywhere. So just at least for me, parang what I've come to realize is just the act of parang sitting quietly in a room with maybe like a pen and paper or whatever, and just asking yourself the question of, so what do I feel about this? Like a particular topic. So what do I
Be
think
very
about
focusing and mindful. Yeah.
Parang I feel like to use the example of yung song that we made for Circle of Hope na that Doc Carlos was referencing. Um, Parang we were making we had this project with kids with cancer, and obviously they were going through this incredible experience. Pero when we started writing the song, or sort of like we have to ask kasi, what's your story ba muna? Like, what is it that you've been going through? And that's where we reference the song. Parang it really felt like it was the first time they've been really asked, how am I going to take this story that's so personal to me and then make it into something that can be shared and parang can be enjoyed by people, parang ganun, like um so kind of seeing that process of them going back to their experience and then turning it into something that others can relate to. You really see in their face na parang there was this click na wow, parang this is something I am going through. And the fact that I'm able to verbalize that, externalize it,
Mm.
but in a parang in a beautiful way, like
Yeah.
In a melodic way, in a harmonic way, parang there was something so affirming, there was something so transformative about it.
Mm.
Parang yun
Yeah.
na there's something about music, or there's something about expressive arts
Yeah.
that not only makes you parang take ownership of your narrative, but it also parang transforms it somehow.
Yeah.
Alam mo,
In my
Patrick and B,
yeah, go. No.
they sang that. Those kids sang the song.
Sila mismo.
Sila
Aww,
mismo.
how cute.
Oh, and they went to the studio, they recorded it. I
Yeah.
never even realized they could sing, di ba? Parang,
Aww.
Yeah.
yeah, but they did. And so they rose to the occasion, and then amazing just when I see that the transformation in which they become more than themselves. I mean, they became more than they probably realized that they could ever be. To be
Yeah.
able to go to the studio, wear headphones, and sing to this onto this expensive mic and all that kind of an experience is really super, di ba? Kung ikaw yung ano, parang that's alam mo, malamig sa studio, and then you were together, and then now it's my turn, and I'm wearing this headphone, di ba?
Aww.
Parang
Yeah.
isn't that a wonderful experience? Na it started, of course, as a songwriting, and you wrote the song, but now you're performing it. That's your voice being heard, and along with others. And so you know something? It will last them. Diba? It will last much, much longer than themselves.
Yeah.
But the thing is, that's the beauty of expressive arts, is because your message will ring through history.
Yeah.
You know? So parang, ooh, it can be sort of like, ooh, it has that forever thing element. Even when I'm no longer here, my song
Yeah.
and my words and my expression and my life will continue to ring for the rest of
Yeah.
mankind. Parang
Yeah.
ganon.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful experience.
Yeah. One of the things that in my personal experience, and I think B will very much agree, one of the very beautiful things about music is it's very universal. You know, you can hear a song in Spanish, and you can still it can still evoke emotion in you despite not understanding Spanish. Or you can hear a
Yeah.
Japanese song, or in any language really, but you know, parang, and I'm just kind of like trying to affirm what you were saying, Doc Carlos, about like not being very good with lyrics. At the end of it doesn't matter, like and this is something that si Doc Gina Alfonso said on the show. It's like all art is good art. So no matter how bad you think your lyric is, it's art, and at the end of it all, it's good art, and it's
Yeah.
you. And as long as it's genuine and sincere, and it comes from you, it's It's beautiful. But yes, like, as my artistry really only is ever encompassed only by music. Visual arts, like, no, don't.
Oh,
Wag mo na akong anuhin dyan. Like dance, no way. But like music, yeah, that's my jam. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, it's more, yeah, music listening. Yan, dyan tayo nabuhay eh. Mike knows this eh. Tinry natin magsulat ng song. Pero pagka music kasi nagsha-shatter na ako eh. So I just write it and I give it to Mike. Mike, so what a music? So what a collab? Pero ako, when I was starting, if I may share, kasi sa akin kasi, I use expressive arts also to, of course, yun nga, to sort of, kumbaga, calm myself down and to sort of understand myself also. Kasi for me, when I put it into words, it becomes more tangible. And it becomes more, kumbaga, I'm in control of that. But sometimes, and a lot of times, I think these words scare me. That's why I think it's kumbaga, parang there's that sort of a hesitation in terms of like putting it out there, yung mga ganyan. But it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, for those who are probably considering songwriting as a form of therapy also, or to express themselves nga. I don't know if you guys agree that you don't have to put it out there talaga. It's a public, i-release mo siya publicly. Sometimes you gotta write for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, very much so. Yeah.
Sige.
I think, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I think parang no, I agree with you na I think this in the music industry, but there's this kind of debate na who do you write for? And there's sort of been this trend na parang there are artists who write for their audience. So to a certain extent, they're already pandering to what people they think wanna hear, parang ganon. And we're not going to cast any judgment on that. Pero parang I do agree that parang there's a like what Doc Carlos was saying, there's also a spiritual aspect to music. Spiritual in the sense that it communicates something within you that maybe you don't even yourself realize. Parts of your memory or parts of your emotion that maybe even you don't get to kind of dip into. So I feel like for those who would kind of want to explore songwriting, the pressure is always the song has to be good. Alam mo yon, parang maybe it has to be catchy and like if people hear it, it'll be a big hit. I feel like that's kind of putting the the cart before the horse. Na at the core of it, parang you write the song because you also want to connect to that place in your heart. And when you start there, that's where you're able to connect to the hearts of other people. And yun naman ata yung mahalaga na there's a social and connective, parang connection aspect to music. Parang, and we don't exist in a vacuum, but parang I do very much agree that you have to start from a very authentic or very honest personal space.
Yeah. Wow. So much meat in one episode. So parang like,
I know.
Right.
My gosh. Yeah. Sige, well, I don't know where to take it from here really, but ultimately, like the beauty of everything of psychotherapy, of expressive arts therapy, which is also a form of psychotherapy. So it's about giving really the person the space and the opportunity and the vocabulary to bring out and allow them to really be understood more, whether it's understood by themselves or by other people more. And I think that's ultimately what we need. Doc Carlos put it very, very succinctly and beautifully earlier, when it's a basic human need. It's to be understood, to be seen, and to be heard. That's the basic human need. And unfortunately, we don't really get that. We don't get the opportunity to do that. So I'd like for on behalf of like people everywhere and for us on the show, we thank you for the service that you guys do, and the ministry and the volunteerism that you bring with the kind of work and the opportunities that you bring with the kinds of things that you guys do. So thank you, and thank you for being able to share that with us on the show tonight. So really appreciate it.
Yeah, the pleasure is ours, Patrick and B. And nice to be with Mike and spend this time with you. Right.
Right. Do you guys have anything to plug or to announce, to share? Like, the floor is yours. Give a shout out, maybe.
Nakita ko lang si Mike, sabi ko, bakit parang nakikita ko sa kanya yung crucifix, no?
I wonder why. I wonder.
Baka mapupunta siya mamaya sa isang palabas or na baka mamaya ipapako siya. So
malapit na po yung 7 last words ng parish namin.
That's what it's for, Mike. Okay.
Kulang pa yung hair.
It's unfortunate that we're Asian and we don't are not able to
know.
grow it all out. Sorry, dude. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, sorry, go.
Ano ba? I mean, one of the things that we're very excited, and we'll probably be able to talk about it more when it solidifies, is that one of the reasons why Doc Carlos and I have connected, guys, we're developing a program that's kind of centered on music, as it's parang a way for a tool for mental wellness and well-being. And it's been really such a joy working with Doc Carlos, kasi parang at least in my experience, experiencing it, that how music has a certain power to affect people positively, but then the validation kind of coming from Doc Carlos's parang experience and parang his knowledge, his breadth of knowledge, na yes, there are sort of these theories that are activated, and how there's a spirituality that is also engaged in that. Parang I've been learning so much kind of talking to Doc Carlos, na I'm excited to be able to share that with others, that this thing that's so accessible to all of us, like we are on listening to something throughout the day, but that in itself has the capacity to better our lives, even if just a little. Parang I feel like that's such an incredible tool that we could access. And if there are just more people who can sort of teach that to us, like Doc Carlos. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So thanks, Mike. We'll probably share more as when this one crystallizes. But basically, it's a kind of a workshop that we're working on. So yeah, so combining songwriting and music and well-being, basically around that area. Yeah. But thanks for having us. We enjoyed chatting with you.
Thank
Chill,
very much.
Fun and chill.
Yeah. Is
Thank
there
you
any
so
way
much.
that people, if ever, who might be interested to take part in or volunteer for Circles of Hope, or in the Haru Collective, or in We Thrive, is there any way that people can get in touch with you guys?
Yeah, we have a page, it's a Circle of Hope. You can just type that, Circle of Hope, and it has this like a sunflower kind of a logo. It's Facebook. So we should be there. We're accessible. We are in LinkedIn, or you may contact me or Mike. So you can search for Carlos Pizarro's FB. And so yeah, and We Thrive is our it's like a clinic. It's for psychologists. So we're a team of psychologists from different schools, and so we this is more of our way to reach out more people. So
Yeah.
this would include companies and individuals, families,
Yeah.
children. So yeah, we're here to serve. Basically,
Yeah.
we're just like Patrick. We're just like be here and Mike, in whatever way we can, And
Yeah.
then siguro one last thing is the reason why we're doing this is because it seems like we can do more than just our profession, di ba?
Yeah.
Parang, so parang amazing. That's how we connect.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos.
okay.
Yeah, Mike, you want to promote Haru Collective?
Or is Haru exclusive to people who have
Is it
long
a
hair?
private group?
No naman. Haru is a storytelling storyteller collective. You can just look for it in both Facebook and Instagram. We have sort of this very small community lang where we exchange stories and just sing music and do poetry. So you can just check out those pages and mababait naman kami. And it's very chill there. Yeah. Thanks so much. Thanks you guys for having us. This has been
Alright.
great.
Thank you.
We'll try to drop the
Announcements, Bea?
links sa comment section. Okay. Announcements. Just a quick one from our station. The Catholic Bishops Conference of the Philippines, or CBCP, in cooperation with Jesuit Communications, brings you Usapang Halalan 2022, the CBCP Election Forum. A roundtable discussion with the candidates for President of the Philippines will focus on pressing national issues in light of our Catholic faith and values. Streaming this Friday, tomorrow, March 25th at 6 p.m. on all Catholic TV, radio, and social media outlets nationwide. Also in partnership with CBCP Media, the Catholic Media Network, Radyo Veritas, TV Maria, Rappler, and the Philippine Cable and the Telecommunications Association Incorporated, and of course here on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. So that's happening tomorrow, March 25th, 6 p.m. Stay tuned. I heard that we'll have like a meaty and very, very valuable discussions with our candidates. So yeah.
Thank you.
That's right.
Okay, so this has been MindEd, your weekly slice of mental health tips and tidbits. My name is Pat.
And this is B. I am still a letter. See you guys next week, hopefully.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good
And then spirit fingers.
And
then
cue
they're gonna cut us
out.
out. And then
Let us understand mental health and explore how we can take care of our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. Welcome to your weekly slice of mental health tips and tidbits with Pat and B, here on MindEd.
Sa'yo sumisilong kapag ang puso ko'y pagod.
Radyo Katipunan. News, insights, inspiration.